Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Oceanus, and oh boy, Thomas Massie, the libertarian firebrand from Kentucky, has officially lost his bid for re-election after going against President Donald Trump and his agenda. And I do have some things to say about this, but first let's hear his concession speech out of respect for Congressman Massie.
All right. Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
Ha ha ha, hilarious, hilarious, ha ha ha.
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
Turns out honor doesn't win you elections.
Welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever in the 250-year history of this country. It's not just the most expensive. This thing went on longer than Vietnam. It started 9 months ago, and they didn't even have a candidate, and they decided they want to take me out.
Yes. Now, Thomas, Congressman Massie. While I am not entirely against him, I believe that he made a gigantic miscalculation. I think that he believed that people would take one issue, and that is the issue of Israel, and it would win him the election. This is, of course, nonsense. And while I have my criticisms of Israel and the AIPAC Jewish lobby, I also have my criticisms of Thomas Massie, which I will get to in a moment. And I think those criticisms of mine, shared by a bunch of other people on the right, went ignored, and instead of understanding our criticisms, we were called shills for Israel, shills for AIPAC, bought off by AIPAC. And as you can see, apparently we were correct. And this is literally my position here. I'm sorry, but being against Israel is not enough. I'm not going to vote for Democrats and Libertarians just because they oppose Israel. I care about the domestic agenda too much. You can yell at me in the replies, but I'm not going to listen. And this ties exactly into what I'm about to say now with Cernovich right here. Mike Cernovich, 2024 to 2025 is a raises now GOP majority, and Massie needed to be a team player on the One Big Beautiful Bill. AIPAC will claim the scalp, and the other side will blame Israel for buying the election, yet almost all of Trump's posts were about ICE funding, One Big Beautiful Bill, and overall disloyalty to Trump. Agree. Whether you like it or not, whether you agreed with what was in the OBBB or not, the fact of the matter is that the One Big Beautiful Bill was the mass deportations bill. It was the mass deportations bill that superfunded ICE until 2029, to the point where they can hire so many more people, so much more immigration enforcement officials, get much more funding for holding facilities, for deportation efforts, and Massie voted against it. This was my entire criticism of Massie's campaign. Immigration issues apparently weren't his major concern. Meanwhile, immigration hardliners like myself went ignored by Massie, by the podcast grifter right that supported him, because we were apparently AIPAC shills. How many times do I have to say, I do not like AIPAC, I'm not a fan of Israeli influence in American politics, until it gets through to you that it's not my only issue, and that I'm not going to support open borders people just because they are anti-Israel. Maybe if you had listened to us, you would have won. If Thomas Massie, because here's the thing, Thomas Massie has some very good positions. He is correct in a lot of issues. We shouldn't have the Federal Reserve. We shouldn't have a bunch of the stuff that's going on in the government where we fund a lot of stupid pork in these bills. But my goodness, you made your campaign a single issue. Two issues actually: Israel and the Epstein files, which and you completely shut out all the other issues that the base, at least Trump's base, um shows concern with. If Massie had been an immigration hardliner and had voted to fund ICE, voted to fund the One Big Beautiful Bill, and all the deportation efforts, and he had campaigned on that as well, and Donald Trump still didn't like him, I would have been like, okay, Trump, you got to suck it up, endorse Massie, because he's in the right here, and that's that. But no, Massie didn't do that. He made his campaign on one issue, and it wasn't the most important issue to voters. Like, it's just so. I told everybody. The Thomas Massie race proved that a lot of influencers on this app have no real world influence. Yep. Yep, exactly. The frickin' Candace Owens, Owen Schroyer, Rich Barris, Robert Barnes, their butts were whooped tonight. They were so sure that this one issue, these two issues, Israel and Epstein, were the winning issues. And they were completely wrong. I was ready to bite the bullet if I was incorrect. And I would have been like, you know what? This is the issue. Israel and Epstein, these are the issues. But I was correct. These were not the two main issues. They're important issues to be sure, don't get me wrong. But they're not the main issues. And all these people on their podcasts and everything were just ate crow tonight. And it wasn't even close. Massie lost by over 10 freaking points to this guy who nobody had heard of before entering the race a few months back. What does that say about this whole thing? Actually, let's see what Asmongold has to say here. They do, but it's diluted across the whole world. When you have American influencers getting gassed up by third worlders on social media, a false consensus is made. Your tweets about American politics may have a lot of likes, but it doesn't matter if those likes are from India. Exactly. Asmongold is correct here. Exactly. That is exactly correct. A lot of people who were pro-Massie, despite ragging about foreign Israeli influence in American politics, were they themselves foreign influencers from fricking Pakistan, the UK, and a bunch of other places that weren't even American. Like Evan Kilgore. The Thomas Massie race proves that Jewish billionaires who don't even live in Kentucky can simply buy an election to install their Zionist candidate of choice. Okay, if that was the case, then how did Donald Trump win 2 elections when he was outspent like 3-1? Hillary Clinton had a bajillion dollars in her war chest in 2016. Trump hardly had anything, yet he won and Hillary Clinton lost. Kamala Harris had the backing of the federal government in 2024, yet she lost, Trump won. Let me tell you this: money's powerful in politics, but overall, money doesn't vote. Like the Jewish billionaires can freaking give Ed Gilrain $1 billion freaking dollars, and if he didn't do anything with it, it wouldn't have mattered. Because he could have gotten one vote and had $1 billion on one vote, and it wouldn't have mattered. So while money is important in politics, it's not the only thing that counts. Like people are always like, "Oh, it's big money that's the issue." Yes, big money is an issue, but it's also going around getting people to vote for you and having people trust that you can deliver on what they have voted for and on the issues that they care about. Again, you are not just simply blaming the Jewish billionaires and the Zionists is completely losing focus on the real issues here. If you are not considered effective at your job and you do not deliver on issues such as immigration or demographic displacement, which is my top number one issue, I'm not going to support you, and no amount of Jewish money or Zionist money can change my mind. Good grief, man. Oh yeah. I just don't understand how Thomas Massie's accused the president who ran a landslide of being a pedophile protector strategy didn't work, but I'm no political expert. Exactly. Well, I don't understand. Massie did not have a very good strategy. Donald Trump is protecting pedophiles. Oh my goodness gracious, man, that's not good. And then what happened? You expected Donald Trump to give you his endorsement for accusing him of a serious crime? What did you think was going to happen? Like, what did you think was going to happen? And here's the other thing in saying Trump's approval was approaching an all-time low right now, so I'm thinking that it was more so the unprecedented donations from Jewish billionaires and fabricating a scandal at the last minute, which made the difference here. And then publicized with the Jewish billionaires had the power to win a congressional primary, but they are powerless to affect Trump's approval rating. Dollars don't vote, people do. Do you even hear yourself? Again, if that's the case, if Jewish billionaires are making all the difference here, then why in the world then what chance in heck do Democrats have of winning the midterms in November? If that's the big breaker here, then we should be seeing a Republican landslide in November. But it's not. And if that was the issue there, why was it that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? If he was the pro-Israel candidate, why did he lose in 2020? Why did all this Jewish money did not help him? Why didn't the Republicans win in a landslide in 2022? If they're the party of the Zionist Jews, why do they keep losing elections? Why did Zohar and Mamdani win in New York? Why did the Republican candidates in Virginia and New Jersey lose their elections a couple months back? Again, money is powerful, but it's not the end all. And this is what these people don't understand. This should make you question every single poll you've seen recently showing President Trump in an all-time low approval rating, because what happened tonight would not have happened if those polls were accurate. Once again, like they have for the last 12 years, the polls are underestimating Trump. And yes, again, this is true. Even the betting markets, which are very good indicators of how races go, even had Massie up until today. They had Massie beating Galrain with a very big margin. The betting markets did, and those are usually very good indicators of how a race is going to go. And last minute, which rarely happens, it switched. If Donald Trump's grip on the Republican Party was loosening, as the podcast bros would have you believe, then how was he able to unseat Bill Cassidy in Kentucky? How is he able to unseat Bill Cassidy in Louisiana? How is he able to unseat Thomas Massie in Kentucky? And how is he able to get rid of most of these Indiana state politicians who refuse to redistrict their maps? MAGA is dead. Meanwhile, MAGA just beat your butt in like 5 races. All I'm saying is the anti-Trump right needs to take a step back, and they need to really reevaluate their strategy here, because something isn't working. Either most of the people do not agree with the Nick Fuenteses, the Candace Owens, the Owen Schroyers of the right, or something else is going on here. As I said, I had kept saying this for Months and months and months. Actually, let's see what Nick is saying here. I want to see what Nick Fuentes said about this, and I think I already replied to him. Okay, Nick. Israel used their control over Trump and their Jewish money to destroy Massie because he went against their agenda. There's no denying that Trump's GOP is more than a front for Israel and has to be destroyed for America First to prevail. Okay, Nick, if that were the case, why did you and your army of groypers disavow Casey Putsch in the Ohio gubernatorial primary when he was the most anti-Israel person on the planet? Were you being used by Israeli money, Nick? Because you went against him and he lost. He lost to Vivek Ramaswamy, who you were also against. And I'd say Putsch was closer to your ideas than Ramaswamy was, yet you declined to endorse him, you even denounced him, and now you're going after freaking Dan Bilzerian, who's also anti-Jewish money in politics, anti-AIPAC. Coincidentally enough. So by this logic, you are controlled by AIPAC, Nick. Somehow you haven't turned on Fishback yet, but I assume that's coming. Again, these people just aren't good strategists. And again, how many times do I have to say it? I agree. I don't want AIPAC in our elections. I don't believe they should be spending money on our candidates. But if you're making it the number one issue, you're going to lose. If you're ignoring the demographic question, the immigration question, the left-wing takeover of our institutions issue, you're going to lose the election. Because you know who also shares your criticism of Zionism? The left. And I'm not going to vote for a leftist just because I dislike Zionism, just because I dislike the Israeli lobby, and just because I dislike big money in politics. Dare to call me a Zionist shill. I dare you. But anyways, it sucks. It really does, because Thomas Massie was not a bad politician. I don't believe he was the devil. I don't believe that he deserved to lose. But again, it has been proven that Donald Trump's hold on the Republican Party is ironclad. And as the old saying goes, if you swing at the king, you had best not miss. And Thomas Massie, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Owen Schroyer, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alex Jones, and all these other people who have, in the podcast sphere, have missed multiple times. And we are seeing the results of that tonight. Have a good night, everybody. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow my X account. I'm on there a lot. Good night.